Beautiful ladies and gentlemen, there was a gentleman, and he said, his wife said, "Honey, I'm proud of you." He said, "Huh?" She said, "I'm proud of you." He said, "Huh?" She said, "I'm proud of you." He said, "Oh, I've been tired of you." And though that may be funny, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely don't want our children to misunderstand the fact that we're proud of them. And I appreciate your time so very much because your time is so very valuable. I have 5 sons, and Nick Cannon is my oldest son. And I've learned some things. My heart goes out to young men, and that's one of the reasons I'm here today, and I build a strong bond and relationship with Terrence Stone because of what he's doing in the community to help uplift young men. We all know that there's a crisis in this nation about what's going on with young men in this country, young minority young men. Not that they're not brilliant, not that they're not intelligent, but there's a whole lot of games that's being played and that's been played on us. And so when we understand that there are jail cells with our children's names on it, with the intentions that if they don't get it together in the 3rd grade, if they don't get it together in the 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade, we've already got jail cells marked and ready and prepared for them. In our school systems, we might declare that some of these kids are ADD or ADHD or bipolarism and they need some medication. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you, before we put our children on substances, it's going to be very hard for them to adjust with those substances. We might need to get them in a good martial arts class. Might need to get out and do some jogging and some running with them and help burn up all that energy early in the morning before school starts. So that energy has been burned up and now you have a properly prepared young person ready to be taught. What I found is, ladies and gentlemen, that our children are brilliant and they are intelligent. And I ask my sons, and I ask young people everywhere I go, to start saying that every morning. I am brilliant and I am intelligent and I'm walking in my calling. I did have the privilege to just bring 1 or 2 of my books, which is How to Discover Your Calling. You all have a calling. Our children have a calling. If you think about it, from the time they came out the mother's, out you ladies' womb, they start learning. They start grasping. They start adapting. So their calling is to be a student. That's all of our first callings. To learn, to be carnivorous, to be hungry for knowledge and education. Sometimes our children go to school, but we have not yet thoroughly helped them understand what school is really all about. So they go and they really don't understand. It's kind of like we take a child out and we teach them how to play baseball. We say, this is just for the fun. It is for fun, but it's also training. Because if that child doesn't get that little league training, then when he gets to high school, he's really not prepared to do what he needs to do swinging that bat. He has to be properly trained and understand that that's training ground for something that's so big over here. I mean, they have $60 million contracts for playing baseball. But you got to get the fundamentals way back there. It's more than just fun. It's training. And what I found is that our children can grasp anything when we truly help them understand. I had a son And I appreciate y'all, and I do want to open up with the time that I have, just in case you want to ask me some questions, because I have 5 sons. My 2 boys are in Bible college in Temecula. My youngest son is at Howard University, and my other son has opened up for Mariah Carey all over the country singing. Reuben Cannon, you're going to hear him and know about him. And then Nick is doing what he's done, and Nick has never had 1 day of college, not one. He's the CEO of Team Nick, which is Nickelodeon's Teen Network. He's got a first look deal with NBC, with America's Got Talent, and a few other things. He has a show on MTV. But the point is, he's flowing out of his spirit. And we can teach our children to build their spirit up in such a way to where they begin to trust their spirit. They begin to trust their instincts. They can step out and regardless to what their friends and peers are telling them to do, they're walking on what's on the inside of them. I seen my son at 17, and we was at Nickelodeon, and at 17, all the executives are at the table. The president of Nickelodeon is in New York, and he's talking on the speakerphone. I'm there, but they're not giving me any extra attention, even though I'm mixed bad, because that's not why they were there. They're there because he was there. I literally could have walked out the room. I watched my son stand up at 17, where all these adults are in the room, and he pitched them $1 million idea of a new camera show. Body. I said, that's it. That's what we have to do. We have to get our young people so prepared that no matter who the adult is, okay, that we can walk out the room with a smile on our face. Because we know that they're prepared. I encourage you parents, that certain things you know in your heart you want your child to know. You want them to grasp this. Sometimes because of their faces and their attitude, we back off. I'm saying don't back off. If you want your child to be fluent in Spanish, then stay with it. If you want your child to be a black belt in martial arts when they come out of high school, then stay with it. Don't back off. If you want them to be fluent in writing, because there's something within inside the parent, we know what they need, what our children need. And sometimes we back off because they start crying and rolling their eyes, like God told Jeremiah, don't be afraid of their faces. Your children, we have authority, and we want them to be to a point that no matter what being vice president, no matter whose office that they go in, they're well equipped. They're going to impress their socks off. That's the goal. We want our children to impress their socks off. So the only thing as a parent that we have, you got to keep talking, y'all. You got to keep talking to them. Sometimes I didn't talk to them before. I'm like, I'm going to keep saying this. And I'm going to say to you is that even when they get 30, you still going to have to be saying some of the same things. Yeah. The beauty of this is, though none of us is as good as all of us, what we cannot accomplish alone, we can accomplish it together. So sometimes people like a Terrence Stone can come in and speak to our youth. I've been talking to our blue in the face. He come in for 5 minutes and say it, and they act like a guy. They act like I ain't been saying nothing. He come in, but that's okay, because that's why he's there. Use him. Call him. Get him on the phone and say, Terrence, you just got to talk to this young boy. Because it's a shame, ladies and gentlemen, that our minority young people are the worst case scenario. That's what the statistics say, coming out of the education system. The worst case scenario that you can think of, and they're pointing to Afro-American and Hispanic young people. Worst case scenario. And it's a shame, because this institution has some great benefits. Free for the first year. We've got to get those young men. And if you can't reach them, you get them. And write their number down and telephone number down. And tell them that there's a man named Terrence Stone in this city that I want you to talk to, young man. Because we can't explain to them why it's necessary for them to pull their britches up. But he can. He can get it over to them. So we got to use him as much as you can. Call him as often as you need to call him and get him involved, ladies and gentlemen, because it is a crisis in this nation. And we want our kids to understand that education is a must. I told my son Javen, who's at Howard, he said, well, Dad, you know, I was trying to gear him towards the law. And he said, well, Dad, I want to major in business. I said, well, son, you can major in business in any institution when I go to Howard. He said, well, they got a good business school or such and such. I said, okay, well, I have no problems with that, son. But it's a requirement for you still to get your law, regardless of what you want to major in. What you mean, Dad? I mean, I'm making it a requirement for you to understand the Constitution of the United States of America. You are an Afro-American man. And if you want to be powerful, son, then just like the school says it's a requirement for you to take Spanish or a foreign language and you have to do it because they make it a requirement, well, I'm making it a requirement. I don't know how you're going to do it. It's going to be tough. But you got to get it done, and then I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So what I'm saying is because of the authority that we have over our young people, we can't be afraid of their faces. We can't be, even though they roll their eyes, you got to keep talking to them. You got to keep telling them. Because what I found out about young people, they are listening. They just don't want you to know they're listening. It is going deep. They just don't want you to know it is. So just keep putting it in there, okay? And because reading is fundamental, then you might exchange a book with your child. Read with them. If you can't get it over to them, then find something and say, son, we'll read this. And it's